Hi guys, it's Carol from Cape Cod Cottage Garden, and today I am finally getting the last of my drip irrigation put in, and I thought I'd take you along with me. So come along. So first I want to go over what you need in order to do this project. It's really not difficult. I'm estimating this project will take me 3 hours maybe, and if I have time after I finish the project, I have a bunch of plants to put on the ground, so I might share that with you too. Not sure right now. I'm going to see how this goes. But first, let's go over what you need in order to install the drip. So first you're going to need a supply line, and this is just the hose that delivers the water to the drip irrigation, so it doesn't have any emitters on it. You need that. And then you need your drip line irrigation. I got the ones with the emitters every 12 inches. You're going to need something to soften the ends of the tube so you can slide the tube over the attachments, and I'll show you all that. If you let this sit out in the sun, that helps. So you're going to need some kind of a heat source. Like I have a heat gun that I borrowed from my brother-in-law. Yes, my crazy brother-in-law. But the first part, when I did the whole back printing border, I used a hairdryer. It just takes a little longer. This is just a little more effective is all. It's great if you have one. If you don't need to go out and buy one. You can use a hairdryer. Then something, of course, to cut the tubing. And then for the fasteners, depending on where you're putting your drip, you'll need different kinds of fasteners for different applications. So the three basic ones you'll need is a T that looks like this, an elbow that looks like this, and then just a straight connector. That's pretty much usually all you need. Sometimes you can get like a cross one if you want piping to go in 4 different directions, but you can usually work around that with these 3 connectors. The other thing, I am going to attach this right directly to my hose link. I have a 2-way spigot on that. So, and you can just buy those at any hardware store. The other thing you're going to need, since this is, I believe, 3/4 of an inch, I'm not sure exactly, it's something like 3/4 of an inch, and the water coming out of the spigot is, I think, 1 inch, you have to get an adapter to take it from 1 inch to the smaller hose. So I have that. And to get this onto your spigot, you would need this, because you need the male and the female part. I'll show you this as I put it on, but let's get started. But first, let me show you the area I'm hoping to get irrigated today. So just to give you a point of reference, this is the front garden here in front of my house. My hydrangeas that were only supposed to be 4 feet tall are more like 6 feet tall, so they're kind of covering the windows, and they haven't even bloomed yet. Guys, we're still doing mulch. There's our pile. We just started doing mulch because I just had so much to do. So over here is where my hose link is. You can see my vegetable garden in the back and my garden shed. Just to get perspective, this is the west side of my house. And what we hope to do is, here's my spigot right here. And I just put a split one like that on, so I can use this for my hose link and this will be for my drip. So I'm going to take it across the yard here, over on this side. I don't think I showed you guys, but this was all like that, like a bramble, disgusting mess. And it still is a little bit back there, but the property line is somewhere along there, so we didn't want to go too far into my neighbor's yard. But we went ahead and pulled out all the oriental bittersweet that was strangling these trees. You can kind of see where it's dying off up there. There's still some left that we couldn't reach, and it's dying off, but it was killing all these trees. So we pulled that out along with a bunch of English ivy, cleared a little area. We still have to edge this. These 2 hydrangeas here were just hydrangeas that were dying on my property, and I just stuck them in over here just to see if they would come back, and they actually did come back pretty nicely. So anyway, so I am eventually going to plant a lot of flowers here too and build this as a bed. So I'm going to put just 1 line for now of drip irrigation going this way. And this is all going to be a bed eventually, so I'm just going to put 1 line going all the way over here, and I hope to get my front fence garden completely on drip. So, and then I have a bunch of plants I'm going to be putting in. My roses have kind of gone past, but gosh, they were gorgeous. I got to go back and deadhead all those. But as you can see, my hydrangeas are doing spectacular, and I got a bunch of plants to put in. I'm going crazy with color this year, guys. There's no rules to my color, because look at this weird color scheme here, but I'm going for it. All right, let's get started. I forgot to mention this one little pot that I use. This is to stop the water flowing at the end of the line. So basically, if you get to the end and you want it to stop, instead of just plugging it, you just fold the hose over and slide it through these 2 figure 8, this figure 8 thing. I can show you that when we get there. The other thing you can do is you can just fold the hose over, make it kinked, and then wrap it with like electrical tape or something. Okay, so before my air conditioner kicks on, let's get this done. So the first step is attach this to your spigot and then attach this to that. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw this on first, because you want to get this super tight. If this leaks, my other one in the back is leaking a little bit, I gotta get some plumber's tape and put some plumber's tape on it. Just get that nice and tight. Put this on first, because once you attach the hose, you're not gonna be able to spin this thing on tight. Okay, and then, and it's weird, because to me, I always thought like, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, right? There we go, okay. Make sure your water's off. So now I can get this on nice and tight. Hopefully it won't have leaks. There we go. And now I have the metal piece connecting to the plastic piece. Now I'm going to attach my hose that doesn't have emitters onto this. That's the delivery system to the water. So let's do that next. Sorry for the noise, but the next step is to soften the end of my hose. Make sure you use the hose that doesn't have the emitters. That's very important. In my vegetable garden, they were color coded. So like the delivery hose was black and the emitters were brown, but this is all brown. So just make sure you grab the correct hose. And you're just gonna melt it a little bit. Be very careful with this tool. It works really quickly. And you just wanna melt it so you can see the end is softened a little bit. And be very careful where you set this tool down. I'm gonna shut it off, but the fan stays on. Sorry for the noise. And then I'm just gonna slide this on like this. So easy when you have that heat gun. I was struggling the other day trying to force this stuff on. But there it is. That's all there is to it. Now I'm just gonna run this to where I wanna start my drip. So the next step I have to do, since this is coming kind of straight off the hose link, is I have to put an elbow here because I want my delivery line to go straight down and then across. We are gonna dig it deep underneath the grass. Mr. Hubby's gonna do that part of the project for me. So I'm happy about that because I'm under the gun here trying to get everything done. So I'm taking my measuring tape and I'm kind of just seeing how far it is before it hits the ground. It's about 2.5 feet. So I'm gonna make this about 3 feet so Mr. Hubby can bury it 6 inches in the ground. So I'm gonna put my finger on the 3-foot mark and just cut the hose. One tip when you're cutting the hose, try to cut it straight. It's easier to fit on the coupling if it's not at an angle. There we go. Now we're just gonna heat it and we're gonna put an elbow like this so I can run the drip that way. So I'll show you this one more time, heating and placing the coupling. But then the rest of the time I'll probably just do it off camera. Just basically hold it like this, heat it up until you see it start to melt a little bit. You don't want to melt it too much because then when you try to force it onto the coupling, it will bend and kink on you. So that looks good. Carefully set this down and attach your elbow. It takes a little bit of elbow grease sometimes, but you want to push it on so it's almost all the way touching the end of the elbow, so it's completely covered. Here we go. So now I'm just going to connect the rest of the tube to this and send it that way. Okay guys, this is the end of my supply line. I put an elbow on. Once you finish with the supply line, I recommend you take your supply line and move it across the yard so you don't grab it by accident when your goal is to actually use the drip, since they look very similar. Because this is the drip. So that what you're gonna do is I'm just gonna attach the drip line the same way I did everything else. I'm gonna melt it a little bit and put it on the end of this elbow. One little thing you should know is that when you make your cuts, make sure you're not too close to an emitter. So these are 12 inches apart. I usually just cut in between 2 emitters. So here's one, here's another one, and actually I already cut it, so I cut about 6 inches off that emitter. So I'm just gonna melt it and attach it to my supply line. That looks good. There we go. Slide it on like that. So now I can just start running the drip. Guys, I'm dripping sweat already. It's overcast today, but it's really humid. There is a nice little breeze though. You're gonna need some of these staples to hold the drip where you want it to be. So I'm gonna place one right here to hold this. Just to give you a point of reference, there's my hose link. I have the line coming off. It's at an angle now, but Mr. Hubby's gonna put it in the ground, so I gave him lots of slack. I attached it over there with the elbow. And then I just loosely laid it like this. And now I'm just gonna go through with my staples, my landscape staples, and stretch the drip line and tack it down. And then I'm gonna head over that way. Well, I am hot, but I'm not this hot. It decided to start raining in the middle of my drip installation install. It looks like just a passing shower, so just clean my glasses and get back to it when it stops raining. I'm sitting on my porch. I don't know if you can actually see the rain, but It's raining. Okay guys, sorry that the air conditioning unit is running, but I have it all laid out. I'm short 40 feet, so I'll have to finish this project another time, but it goes all along here. I only put in one drip line here because this is a future bed and I can always add to this. We just started working on this side. This is the west side, clearing out all this brush. And then it comes this way, and this is going to be included in the bed around this big tree here. And we want to screen off our electrical components there. And then it comes over here, and it goes. And what I did was, since macrophylla hydrangeas, these are in full sun, they need lots of water. They really like part shade, or they really like morning sun, afternoon shade, but here it's 100% sun all the time. It's south facing, so these things drink a lot. So what I did was, when I brought drip line down, I went around like that. I circled it, and then I went down and around. And then when I came back on the other side, I actually skirted it again. So it almost has like 3 loops around it. So then I went down this way, circle, down this way, circle, same way, all the way down. Okay. And then I went around to the other side, and I brought it by these plants here. Then I bypassed all my roses in front, and then I kind of weaved it in all the way down. The only thing I'm missing is it stops right here, and I really need another row all the way down behind these roses to get my echinacea and the other things I'm going to plant here. I'm going to need about another 48 feet, so I have to go get more supplies, but I'm going to cap this off now and show you how I do that. Yeah, so I kind of just weaved it in and out of the plants this way, and then there's going to be another row. So this is, the emitters are every 12 inches on this, so you want to keep your drip line about 12 inches apart. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact. Obviously, I'm not exact. So now what I'm going to do is I just turned on the water, and before you put this thing on the end to close it off, you want to flush out the line. So here's the end of the line right here. You want to flush it to make sure there's no dirt and debris in it. So I'm going to go turn on the water and make sure this is flowing freely. So let's go do that. It's leaking a bit, leaking a lot, so I'll have to have that tightened up with some plumber's tape. You can see that the drip lines, they have a lot of air in them, so they're sputtering a little bit. But it should be coming soon, unless I have a kink somewhere. There we go. Excellent. There's going to be some air in the line, so just run it through. Now I can go shut it off and clamp it off. Now, just to end the line, you're going to look for where your emitter is, which is like right there. So you just don't want it to fold on the emitter, so put your little figure 8 on the end of the tube, like this. Push it down. And fold your hose like that. Fold it in half like that. And then just slide the other end over. Just make sure you're not over an emitter when you do this. And then just slide it up like this. And that will effectively, it will clamp off the end. And then just clamp it down with the stake. Done. Okay guys, I think that's gonna do it for today. I'm out of steam. I've been dodging raindrops and blistering heat and humidity all day today. So I think the project took me about 3 hours to complete, but I hope you guys found this information helpful. If I can do it, truly you guys can do it too. The process itself is not difficult, but it is a little complex when you have to weave in and out of plants. So best advice is to put your drip in before you put fillets in. Actually, I'm not gonna have time today to plant up these plants with you, but hopefully I'll include it in another video. I don't know if you noticed when I was panning through my garden, I have put in so many plants this year that I just didn't get on video. It's just been such a busy, busy season. Here's a little tip for you. If you wait till July to pick up some annuals, they're really less expensive. I got all those proven winner annuals for $2 off, $2.50 off what they were originally. So that adds up really quickly. We still have lots more to do in the garden. You can see my hydrangeas look beautiful. The Hydrangea Festival is coming up, and I hope you join me for that. I always take videos of that. That's always a fun week here on Cape Cod. I hope you all are out enjoying your gardens as much as I am. And until next time, get out there and grow. Bye.